What's up everyone, my name is Abby, I like to read, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of June and July. So these past 2 months I have been pretty bad at completing books on my TBR. In June I read 4 books total, which is really low for me, and in July I ended up reading 9 books, and I didn't complete several books on my TBR, but today I'm going to be talking about the books that I did complete in these months. So this is actually the only physical book that I have out of all the books that I read in these past 2 months, and that is White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This was a reread for me. I am going through and tabbing all of Jennifer L. Armentrout's books. This series is a lot of fun. I ended up giving this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to continue reading or rereading the rest of the series. The next book that I read in June, I actually listened to on Audible, and that is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is the first book in the Moonfall series. I gave this 5 stars. I loved this book. I love this book so much that I ended up pre-ordering the hardback. I want this book in hardcover. I want to tab it. I love this book so much. The world building was a little bit confusing at first. There's a whole different terminology that you have to learn, but there is a glossary, a very extensive glossary, and so that helped a lot. It was different than other books because it was a very, very, very slow burn romance, and very much slow kind of getting into the plot, which I am okay with in the first book because it's setting up for the rest of the series. I don't like books, beginnings of the series, that things happen so fast, the characters already love each other, so much has already happened. I don't think that's very realistic. I like to grow with the characters, and so it was really cool to know that we're going to be seeing so much more in the remaining books. And then the last 2 books that I read in the month of June were books 1 and 2 of the Prey Security Artemis series. The first book is Ivory's Fight. These are by Jane Blythe. I gave this 3 stars. And then the second book is Pearl's Fight, and I also gave this book 3 stars. Average reads, not great, not awful. And then to the month of July, I did not complete any physical books. All of the books I either read on Kindle or listened to an audiobook. We will start with the audiobooks that I read or I listened to in the month of July. They're in the same series. They are the first and second books in the Kendra's Curse series by Penn Cole. The first book is Spark of the Everflame. I gave this book 4 stars. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best, but I was excited to kind of continue on with the series. It enticed me enough to read the other books. And the second book is Glow of the Everflame, and I also gave this book 4 stars. I didn't actually like it quite as much as the first book, but it wasn't enough to drop it down to a 3 star. It was a bit slow. The characters kind of annoyed me a little bit, but it still was engaging enough for me to continue on to the third book, which I'm currently listening to right now. And then on to the books that I read on Kindle. The first book is Heart of Night by Angelina J. Steffert. This is the second book in the Wings of Ink series. I was really excited to read this. I picked it up right when it came out. Because I really enjoyed the first one. Well, actually, no, I won't say really enjoyed. The ending was very cliche in the first book, but I was engaged and I read it relatively quickly. But this book, I really dragged in finishing this. In fact, it might have been on the previous month's TBR. It either took me 2 months to read it or just the entire month to read it. I gave it 3 stars. And yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it as much as the first one, which is a shame. And in fact, the ending actually felt like it regressed the story instead of progressing it, which is never a good thing. All of the remaining books that I read in July were books by Jane Blythe. The first book that I read of hers in July is Buried Scars. This is the 5th book in the Prey Security Bravo Team series. I gave it 2 stars. I didn't like it. I didn't believe the love story really at all. And then I also read books 3 and 4 in the Artemis Team or Prey Security Artemis Team series. The first book is Lacey's Fight, and I gave this book 3 stars. It was an average story. And then the fourth book and last book in this particular series is Opal's Fight, and I gave this book 3 stars. I liked the main female character, but I didn't like the main male character. He did something really messed up, and I personally would not have forgiven him. The next 2 books are the first 2 books in the Prey Security Athena Team series. The first book was Fighting for Scarlet. I gave it 2 stars. I hated the main male character. He was an ass. He was awful. I did not like him at all. And then the second book in the series is Fighting for Lucy. I gave this 2 stars. It was better than Fighting for Scarlet, but it just moved really quickly. I just really think these books needed to take a little bit longer to edit and maybe make the books a little bit longer so they're not like so rushed. But yeah, I gave it 2 stars. And then the last book was Saving Ryder. This is the first book in the Saving Seal series. This is actually set before the Prey Security series. So what I ended up doing was read all of the current Prey Security series that are out, and then I'm going back and reading her earlier things. They are still in the same universe, but it is a series that she wrote before the Prey Security series. I gave it 3 stars. It was average. That's all I have to say about it. So those are all the books that I read in the months of June and July. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below the favorite book that you read in either June or July. Subscribe if you want to see more content, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. So I read in the month of Lacey Saving Seals.